Hi Tigere, you are with the Heinrich-Böll Foundation Southern African office and are working there on climate change issues. And I wanted to ask you a couple of questions specific to the region and wanted to start out with actually impacts of climate change, which are bad in a lot of developing countries, but Africa obviously as a continent is affected very badly, and Southern Africa as a region likewise. So I wanted to learn from you what partners and organizations that the Heinrich-Böll Foundation is working with are reporting back in terms of impacts of climate change in the region.
Okay, thanks a lot for having me. What we are seeing in Southern Africa generally over the last 10 years and a bit before that is that we've had quite a pronounced increase in the frequency of cyclonic activity on the Mozambican coast. Also internally in the region there's also been what I'd say intensified droughts, and the effects of these generally have been on the economies of Southern African countries. Southern African countries have climate-sensitive economies, and so you see quite pronounced effects on agriculture. You see pronounced effects on power generation, water resources management, and also you also see effects on food security, both at national level and at household levels.
Who are the people that are most affected by it? And I mean, how are those being helped with current measures?
It has been a bit difficult to really classify, but what we are getting from partners is that at household level you will find that impacts are differentiated. We find that women being more managers of the homestead, as well as being the majority of the people who are working on the field, the impact of lessened rains, for instance, you will find that agricultural productivity becomes quite a laborious activity, and so on women it's quite pronounced. Men have generally been able to diversify into other ways of earning incomes, but women are at home, and they are mostly at home and looking after the family. So you find that the impacts are quite pronounced on women more than men, and also on other vulnerable groups like children and the elderly.
Okay, thank you. And the Heinrich-Böll Foundation is obviously working in the region. What have some of the concrete projects or policy dialogues been that you've engaged in bringing attention to the effects of climate change in the region?
Okay, in terms of projects, we are currently supporting a Zambezi Basin. This is a basin-wide project on vulnerability and adaptation assessment. The Zambezi Basin is the fourth largest basin in Africa, and in Southern Africa is the largest, and drains 8 countries. So that project has been very successful in basically coming up with giving us a broader picture of climate change impacts on the region. We've also been working with civil society to try and get civil society to engage with COP processes, especially in the run-up to COP17, which is going to be in Southern Africa. So we are helping also at a political level to get the stakeholders talking about climate change. We are also working with climate change negotiators, both to build their capacity and in strategy building. I think our added value in working with negotiators is that we are also supporting strategy building for African negotiators, which is something that's adding to the gradually building of climate leadership
You just mentioned that it's obviously a sustained process of engagement with various groups, stakeholders, women, small farmers, obviously negotiators, and you also brought up that COP17 will be in South Africa in Durban. Now, looking at the outcomes here in Cancun, what from a Southern African region perspective would be some of the things that you're looking for or hoping for at least to be brought into the process, get the process running with a view to Durban? Climate
change adaptation is primary to Southern Africa, I would say, more than mitigation. So out of Cancun, we are looking at getting pronounced outcomes on an adaptation framework. We want to see significant steps towards a framework which helps the scaling up of actions at national, regional and international levels. Broadly, I think out of COP16 we are also looking at the revivification of the multilateral system of negotiating. I think that took a bit of a knock with COP15. So we are looking at Cancun once again giving legitimacy and integrity to multilateral negotiations, and looking at this being a springboard for COP17, where we are really hoping for a major breakthrough in climate negotiations.
Okay, thank you very much, Tigere, for sharing your insights with us.
Thank you.